I said earlier this week that Money in the Bank was going to be historic. I even also said that Worlds Collide would be historic, and holy fucking shit was it ever. Oh my god. There are no words to describe Worlds Collide and Money in the Bank. There really isn't. There really is not. And for today's video, I'm going to be revealing the result of both Worlds Collide and Money in the Bank. Let's go to Worlds Collide. Kicking things off is a massive is one of the two massive six-man tag team matches that featured the LWOs Cruz del Toro and Dragon Lee teaming up with obviously Lince Dorado, who we had not seen in quite some time. Obviously, we've seen him on WWE Evolved the last couple weeks, teaming up against the team of none other than, if I have this right, none other than Octagon Jr., Aerostar, and of course Mr. Iguana. Obviously, those three men, incredibly gifted talent. You can never go wrong with them. And we found out that Mr. Iguana brings a puppet Iguana to the ring, which is very funny. Very funny. But I will say, and it's not just this match that was on the card. Literally, it was the entire card. It showcased what AAA is, has always been about for the last 31 years right now. For the last 3+ decades, AAA has been home to Lucha Libre and what the Lucha Libre style of wrestling is truly all about. And you look at those who have perfected the art of Lucha Libre over the years, throughout history. Guys like Rey Mysterio, guys like his son Dirty Dom, guys like Octagon Jr., guys like Penta, Rey Fenix, guys like Super Crazy, guys like Conan, Psychosis, Mil Moscatus, just to name a few. Even also the late great Eddie Guerrero, God rest his soul. Even also Eddie's nephew Chavo all have perfected the art of Lucha Libre. And earlier today, this afternoon, those six men truly showcased what Lucha Libre was all about. It was literally hot, just aerial assaults all over the place. Absolutely incredible. Shoutouts to all six men. I honestly would love to see WWE sign Mr. Iguana to WWE. Think of the dumb bullshit he could do in WWE, man. Think about that. Think about this, right? Think about this dream match, right? What do you think about this? Mr. Iguana, and think about this. And a guy like say Karrion Kross, or a guy like perhaps Uncle Howdy, or maybe Mr. Iguana versus Dirty Dom, maybe Iguana versus Penta, Iguana versus Javon Evans over on NXT. The possibilities are definitely out there, but in the end, at the end of it all, Octagon Jr. pinned Lince Dorado with a massive fall-away slam from the top rope to pick up the victory for his team. But obviously, knowing Dirty Dom, the dumb son of a bitch decided to put his nose in business that didn't concern him whatsoever. And it's as Booker T always says, concern yourself with business that concerns you. And this was one scenario that it didn't involve Dirty Dom, but he made it all about himself anyway. And Yeah, he got into a fight with Octagon Jr., which led to Dom announcing he would defend his Intercontinental title at Money in the Bank, which we will talk about a little later on in this video. So, massive shout out to Mr. Iguana, Octagon Jr., and of course Aerostar. Those three men were truly able to showcase and kick off the entire card. Absolutely incredible. We move from a 6-man tag to a traditional 2-on-2 in the women's division between the team of Dalys and Chica Tormenta against Lola Vice from NXT and the new addition to the Raw roster, La Primera, Stephanie Vaquer. Oh my god. Think about this, right? Chica Tormenta and Dalys were the ones, excuse me, responsible for costing Stephanie Vaquer the NXT Women's title a couple weeks ago. They literally helped Fatal Influence help JC Jane become NXT Women's Champion. And I think after earlier today, I think La Primera she got a lick back because this match wasn't about respect. Excuse me, and it damn sure wasn't about excuse me. It damn sure wasn't about the collaboration of WWE and of course AAA. This was personal. This was personal because La Primera wanted to keep the NXT Women's title and potentially bring it over to Monday Night Raw and maybe be the first woman to go into the women's Money in the Bank ladder match as the NXT Women's Champion. Never before has that ever happened in WWE history, so that would have been pretty cool, but obviously Dalys and Chica Tormenta was like, you know what, Vaquer? You ain't getting shit. Fuck you. You're gonna lose your title. Literally, that was their mindset. And earlier this afternoon, it all backfired for Dalys and Chica Tormenta as both Lola Vice and Stephanie Vaquer hit Dalys and Chica Tormenta with the Devil's Kiss. A little homage to Booker T. Yeah, you can't go wrong with Booker T. The dumb shit that Booker T says will never not be funny. Literally, it just can't. It just can't. So obviously Stephanie Vaquer hit the SVB on Dalys to pick up a massive victory for her and Lola Vice. Obviously now that that's out of the way, Stephanie Vaquer could now move forward to the women's Money in the Bank ladder match, which we will get to a little later on. And of course, Lola Vice can focus on the NXT Women's title. So buena suerte to Lola Vice, and we'll see what the future holds for La Primera. Next up is the second 6-man tag that featured Legado del Fantasma against the team of Elio del Dr. Wagner Jr., Psycho Clown, and Pagano. Obviously, and interestingly enough, Wagner Jr. is actually the son of Dr. Wagner Sr. So there is definitely a lot of history with Wagner Jr. and of course AAA and even just professional wrestling altogether. But Legado del Fantasma, they wanted this match to prove to Pagano, Psycho Clown, and Dr. Wagner Jr. that Legado del Fantasma are the true emperors of Lucha Libre, and yeah, I'm actually kind of surprised that Berto able to coexist with Santos Escobar and of course Angel, even though they've even though they've had a bit have had a bit of a rough patch the last few weeks. Obviously, Berto trying to make things right with himself, and Andrade. Well, you guys know. You guys know. You guys like myself have watched SmackDown for the last few weeks. You guys already know. I will say, I think this was a good first step for Legado del Fantasma, because even in spite of the win, I have no doubt down in my mind that at some point down the road, we are going to see a single push for Berto, and potentially him leaving Legado del Fantasma, which is very possible. I mean, there have been quite a few people who have left the group to do their own thing. Cruz del Toro, Joaquin Wild, obviously leaving Santos for the LWO, even though Santos joined the LWO initially. Electra Lopez, actually Lopez got released of her contract about a month and a half ago, actually, which I did bring that up in a previous video. If you guys haven't checked that out, definitely check it out. And then of course, Zelina Vega ended up joining the LWO with Legado. Ended up back on SmackDown. Now is the Women's U.S. Champion. So congrats to Zelina Vega. But Escobar proved that Legado del Fantasma is stronger than ever, and he hit the Phantom Driver onto Elio del Dr. Wagner Jr. With the Phantom Driver, to pick up the win for Legado del Fantasma. Moving into the NXT North American title under Fatal 4-Way rules between the champion All Ego Ethan Page and his challengers, SmackDown's Rey Fenix, NXT's Javon Evans, the Young OG, and of course AAA and TNA's very own Laredo Kid. And yeah, obviously those who watch the new version of TNA definitely know all about Laredo Kid, obviously teaming with Octagon with Octagon Jr. to form the team known as the Aztec Warriors. Hell of a team, but this was back and forth, and this literally was way out of Ethan Page's comfort zone, because he was dealing with high flying moves all over the place, including Javon Evans, who he can fly high with the best of them. This was all over the place, bodies being screwed everywhere, and Javon Evans came this close to becoming North American champion in his own right. But in the end, we saw Ethan Page hit Laredo Kid with Twisted Grin to retain the NXT North American title. Which now buys into the question, what's next for All Ego? We'll have to wait and see. But now we move into the main event of Worlds Collide. Chad Gable, excuse me. I gotta admit, Chad Gable was way in over his head. He was way in over his head, but he held his own against none other than Elio del Vikingo for the AAA Mega Championship, which is basically their version of a world title, if you will. This was literally everything that we had expected. We knew that Chad Gable was going to bring in his excuse me. We knew that Chad Gable was going to bring his amateur background his amateur wrestling background, we knew that Vikingo was going to bring in the lucha libre style, which he did, and this was back and forth, ankle locks being applied, Vikingo just impressing the entire WWE universe with his aerial moves. Excuse me, including a massive move through the table of onto Chad Gable. And interestingly enough, I found out actually after watching Worlds Collide, I found out that the rules of AAA wrestling are so much different compared to other promotions, like TNA, WWE. They are so different, and there's a lot more leeway in terms of the competitors using the weapons, like a table or a steel chair or whatever. There is a little bit of leeway. So obviously the rules were very, very different. But at the very closing moments of the match, we saw Vikingo hit Chad Gable with a 630, which is a move that we have not, which is very rare for WWE to see. For Vikingo to retain the AAA Mega Championship, and now we know. Obviously, now the entire WWE universe knows what AAA is all about. So we move from Worlds Collide to Money in the Bank. Kicking things off is the women's Money in the Bank ladder match between Alexa Bliss, Roxanne Perez, Rhea Ripley, Julia, Naomi, and of course Stephanie Vaquer, again pulling double duty. This was as crazy as it gets. We knew that Roxanne Perez and Julia and Stephanie Vaquer were definitely going to be gunning for the current. We're going to be gunning for Bliss and Naomi and Rhea. Oh my God, they completely tore the house down. Absolutely incredible. We even saw Julia and Roxanne Perez cover Rhea Ripley with ladders, which that only lasted about 10 minutes before Rhea Ripley rose from the ashes, if you will, started beating down on people. We saw Bliss and Roxanne Perez hit Code Red, dueling Code Reds, literally on top of a ladder, on top of ladders, which is crazy. And at the closing moments, Bliss and Rhea were climbing the ladder, trying to retrieve the briefcase, but Naomi came in, pushed them off the ladder, and is now Miss Money in the Bank. This is actually kind of crazy because now Tiffany Stratton has now become the most fearful in all of WWE in the entire women's division. But think about this. So has Io. But think about this. And I know that, and I'm pretty sure Naomi's probably watching this. Maybe she's not. But Naomi could also cash in on the NXT Women's Champion currently being held, which the title's being held by JC Jane. Definitely something to think about for Naomi. Big congrats to her. I know that a lot of us as fans have been we've all had our words about Naomi, but I've got no doubt in my mind that this version of her is definitely going to be a champion once again in WWE. Moving from the women's Money in the Bank ladder match to the men's Intercontinental title between Dirty Dom and of course Octagon Jr. We knew that Octagon Jr. was not going to come in to this match at 100%. Obviously, dealing with the 6-man tag that he had to kick off Worlds Collide, actually, and it ended up paying dividends because we saw Liv Morgan help Dirty Dom retain the title by watching Dom hit Octagon with the front with the 619 and the frog splash, proving that that Dirty Dom once again cannot do it on his own. Obviously, yes, he was able to do it at WrestleMania, but that was WrestleMania. This is different. Basically, it was an impromptu match. Only lasted like 10 minutes, so unfortunately, it was not that great, in my opinion. But we moved from the men's Intercontinental title to the women's Intercontinental title between Lyra Valkyria and Becky Lynch. Back and forth, absolutely incredible. I think, honestly, looking at this match, it was a must-win for Becky, and Becky proved it. Becky proved without a shadow of a doubt why she is indeed the man, because she was able to roll up Lyra Valkyria to become women's Intercontinental Champion, and unfortunately, Lyra had no choice but to raise Becky's hand multiple times, and was forced to wrap the title around Becky's waist, only for Lyra Valkyria to hit Becky Lynch with a German suplex and walked away. Obviously, yes, Lyra Valkyria's reign could have lasted at least another month or two, possibly leading into SummerSlam. But I've got no doubt in my mind that Lyra will get her rematch at some point for that Intercontinental title. But for now, it is all about the man. And speaking of the man, her visionary competed in the men's Money in the Bank ladder match, as it was Seth freaking Rollins, Solo Sikoa, Penta, Andrade, El Grande Americano, and of course the megastar L.A. Knight. Yeah, and you knew that El Grande Americano had a trick up his sleeve. Yeah, it was that metal plate. But I would say that this was by far one of the greatest Money in the Bank ladder matches we had seen in a very, very long time, because this was back and forth. Everybody trying to grab the briefcase. Penta came so close to grabbing it, but unfortunately got hit in the head by El Grande Americano's headbutt. It was absolute chaos. And at the final minutes of the match, Rollins was like, you know what? Get my boys out here. Breaker hits El Grande Americano with the wicked spear, hitting LA Knight with the wicked spear. Oh my God, Bronson Reed with a couple of massive tsunamis, but Solo had a trick up his sleeve as well in the form of Jacob Fatu, and of course JC Mateo. But let's just be real, for a lot of us, he's just Jeff Cobb. So let's just be real on that. But it was a showdown between those four men, or as Biggie would say, big meaty men slapping meat. That was what we saw with those four men, and it was just pure chaos all over the place. And at the final moments, we even also saw Solo Sikoa trying to climb the ladder with Jacob Fatu protecting Solo. Nope, it backfired. Here's Solo's leg, grabs Solo's leg, and tells Solo, "I hate you," and beats down on Solo, and puts Solo through a ladder, which allowed Seth Rollins to try to climb the ladder, but LA Knight tried to stop him, but it all failed. Rollins hits LA Knight with the stomp, and for the third year in a row, LA Knight comes this close, but falls short, this time to Seth freaking Rollins. And now Rollins, is in complete control. Enough said. Enough said. But that brings us to the main event, and this was probably the biggest tag match since WrestleMania 40 with Rollins and Cody Rhodes against The Rock and Roman Reigns. This time, it was Cody Rhodes and the World Heavyweight Champion, main event Jey Uso versus Logan Paul and the WWE Champion John Cena. And we knew that Cody and Jey were going to work together very well. We knew that that was going to happen. But what about Logan and Cena? Could they get along? For a while, yes, they did. They got along pretty well for the most part. But there was a moment in time where they both were at each other's throats, literally pushing each other. Logan Paul telling me, teach me something. And oh, did that ever backfire? That backfired ever so great. Oh my god. Final moments of the match, like literally it was back and forth. John Cena hits Cody and Jey with a series of attitude adjustments. Logan Paul tried to hit the snapshot lariat onto Jey, which he slipped and got hit with the super kick, which became his ultimate downfall. And the final moments of the match, we saw Jey Uso hit John Cena with the spear through the announce table, onto the announce table. Logan Paul hits Jey with the outside moonsault through the announce table, and as John Cena hit Cody Rhodes with the WWE title, someone in a hoodie speared the holy hell out of Cena and started beating him down. And if you guys saw that masked man's back was exposed, and we knew full well who it was. It was none other than R-Truth coming back, costing John Cena everything, hitting Cena with the WWE title. Obviously, the fans had chanted, "We want truth, we want truth," non-stop for the last week. And R-Truth cost John Cena that matchup, and now Cody Rhodes is in line for a rematch for the WWE title, and we could potentially see R-Truth re-sign with WWE, which is possible, but is it really going to happen? I will leave that up to you guys on social media, but honestly, both cards absolutely solid. Enough said, guys. Enough said. And on that note, that will do it for today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you guys smash that thumbs up button. If you guys are new to the channel, you guys want more premium live event predictions and results in the future, then be sure to subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell. Excuse me. And as always, make sure you guys are following me on all of my social media. All of my ads will be in the description below, as will the info to my fan mail. It will also be in the description as well. And on that, this is your boy Nash, signing out.